Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise, take a stack of fascinating sources and research, and deliver the focused insight you need right now.
Today, we are taking on one of the most fundamental subjects out there, the core engine of manifestation and the law of attraction.
And our source material for this is really centered on the frameworks from Bob Proctor, specifically from his book, You Were Born Rich.
Right. And we're looking at it through the lens of discussions around its Sinhala translation, which translates to mental images. This is a slightly different flavor.
Exactly. So our mission here is to give you a quick but really thorough understanding of this whole concept, to get past the surface level stuff.
Moving beyond just affirmations and into the actual mechanics of how, according to this text, your inner world is literally shaping your outer reality.
It all starts with this one big premise, which is kind of the anchor for everything else we're going to talk about.
Which is
what you intensely think you create. And we're diving into how this isn't just a theory, but a practical law of the universe, according to the source.
And Proctor, who, many people will recognize from the film The Secret, he frames this whole thing with a very clear metaphor, a vision, really.
What's that?
He says your life journey is all about building a bridge.
A bridge, okay.
And this bridge is designed to take you from your current situation, whatever that is, lack, confusion, directly to what he calls the land of prosperity.
I like that. It suggests the destination is real, it exists, but we have to actually build the way to get there.
We have to build it, yes.
So let's start construction on that understanding, beginning with a pretty surprising claim. Let's get into section 1, the Rubik's Cube of innate wealth.
So the foundational idea here is, it's a big one, it's that every single human being is born inherently rich.
Okay, rich in what sense? Not with a trust fund, I'm guessing?
No, not financially. Rich in potential, in resources and abundance that's all stored within the mind. We already possess all the necessary components.
But that's the big question then, isn't it? If that's true, why is there such a universal struggle? If we're born rich, why are so many people, just trying to make rent?
And that's the crux of the problem. The source tackles immediately. The problem isn't an external lack of something. It's an internal utilization issue.
We don't know how to use what we have.
Exactly. The mind is the tool we're born with, and it has all the capacity we need. The fundamental problem is that we just don't know how to properly use that tool to obtain what's already ours.
So it's like we own a supercar, but we've lost the keys, or maybe we just don't know how to drive stick.
That's a great way to put it. Which brings us to the core metaphor the book uses for this, the Rubik's Cube.
The Rubik's Cube. Okay, I'm listening.
It's a really brilliant analogy. Think about it. If you want to solve one side, say, get all the red squares together.
Right.
All the red squares you need are already on the cube. They're present. You don't have to go out and buy new red squares.
They're there. You just have to move them, turn them, get them in the right order.
Correct. The difficulty, the only difficulty, is not knowing the right sequence of turns. You're missing the instruction manual for arranging the pieces that are already there.
That completely reframes the whole idea of self-improvement. It's not about going out and getting things, getting money, getting lucky breaks. It's about mastering the manual for the machine you already have.
Absolutely. So for you, listening right now, if you've ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels, the text suggests those wheels are already attached to a fully fueled vehicle. You just need to learn the correct operational sequence. We're not seeking new parts. We're seeking mastery of the mind.
So if the mind is the engine, we have to understand the fuel. So, okay, let's unpack this. Let's get into the power of thought itself, section 2, the double-edged sword of thought.
Right. And this is where it gets almost mechanistic. The source material says that thinking is literally the act of creating energy.
Not just a passive activity.
Not at all. It's an active output, a vibration. And this energy attracts corresponding elements from the outside world back to you. Events, people, situations.
We hear a lot about that in a positive sense, attracting success, attracting health. But what's the really challenging part of this claim, the part that's harder to accept?
The shocking reveal is that this energy has no morality. It's totally impartial. It doesn't care if a thought is good or bad.
Meaning,
we don't just attract the things we desire. We also, through our persistent negative or fearful thoughts, attract the very things we don't want.
So you're talking about things like what? Sickness, financial trouble, even failing an exam?
Yes, all of it. And that's a really heavy claim. Of course, someone who's in an accident or caught in a flood would argue, and rightly so, that they did not consciously wish for that.
Of course not.
But the text is firm. It asserts that whether it was conscious or unconscious, the thought patterns leading up to it emitted a corresponding negative energy, a negative mental image.
That is a huge weight of responsibility to place on someone. If I believe I attracted my own misfortune, that could be crushing. How does the book suggest people move past that guilt and into, a productive space?
Well, that's the paradox.
Mhm.
That realization, as shocking as it is actually the source of immense freedom.
How so?
Because if an unwanted outcome was attracted by a thought you generated, then you control the mechanism. The
Ah.
second you understand that you are responsible for the attraction, good and bad, you're no longer a victim. You're the operator.
So it's about making those unconscious negative patterns conscious so you can actually do something about them.
That's it, exactly. And the source says that getting to that point of full realization, of accepting that you're in control, often only happens after going through a specific structured program. The material actually calls this framework mind magic.
Mind magic, that sounds a little out there.
It does, but it's not magic in the, mythical sense. It's the magic of mastering your own mental process. It's the practical, actionable instruction manual for turning that Rubik's Cube.
I see. So it's the process of identifying and swapping out those destructive mental images for productive ones. That's what gives you control.
That's the liberation, yes.
Okay. So if thought creates energy that attracts things, what does this framework say about the most tangible form of energy we deal with every day? Money. Let's move to section 3, the principle of circulation.
This is such a vital lesson. The book is very clear on this. Money is not meant to be hoarded. It's not supposed to be piled up and static.
Its purpose is to move.
Its purpose is to circulate, to be spent, to be invested, to fulfill needs.
If you think of an economy as a circulatory system, then money is the blood.
Yeah.
And if you stop the flow,
You get stagnation, a crisis. That's a perfect analogy for the text argument. Hoarding money, it says, actually causes its value and its power to diminish. For wealth to keep its function and to keep flowing to you, it has to be used.
so the goal isn't just wealth accumulation, it's wealth flow.
It's about using money as a tool for creating things. If you're just sitting on a huge pile of it, but not putting it into motion, you're violating that principle of circulation.
And the text is pretty critical of shortcuts to getting that wealth, right? Like winning the lottery. We see those stories all the time, lottery winners who end up broke.
That's what the material calls the classic lottery trap. Nature's laws, as Proctor describes them, prevent sudden, unearned wealth from being truly beneficial.
Why is that?
Because if you get the money without building the internal mental structure to support it, the discipline, the mindset, the wealth, it dissipates. It leaves.
So it's not about the money, it's about your capacity to handle the money.
Exactly. You have to become the person who can attract and manage that level of prosperity. Otherwise, the money will go find someone who is. Nature intends for you to earn it through effort, achieving genuine satisfaction. The source calls it thraptia in the process.
That ties it all back to the mind being the generator, which brings us to the most important part, I think. The how-to. Section 4. The path to application and prosperity.
Right, and the book promises a really simple plan, and it asks you to treat the book itself like Aladdin's magic lamp.
Okay, another metaphor, I like it. Rub the lamp, the genie comes out. Who's the genie in this case?
The genie is your own subconscious mind.
Ah.
That's the powerhouse. That's the mechanism that turns the thought energy into reality. Your conscious mind's only job is to command the genie, to tell it clearly, consistently what you want.
But it has to be clear.
Crystal clear. But here's the big warning, the absolute critical part.
What's that?
This requires action, not just passive reading.
Yeah.
Just reading the book, nodding along, memorizing facts. It will do nothing. Zero. The benefit only comes from understanding and practical application.
This is the difference between downloading a file and actually installing the program.
That's the perfect way to describe it. Reading a chapter is like downloading data. It just sits there inert. But understanding it and doing the exercises, that's like installing new software, an upgrade to your operating system.
And once it's installed, it just runs. It changes your default settings.
Precisely. It runs in the background. It shapes your reactions, your energy, your thoughts in real time without you even having to think about it. That's how you master the cube.
And the source claims this isn't just a nice theory, it's been tested.
The claims are incredibly confident. It says these ideas have been tested for over 25 years and proven to be 100% successful and factual.
100%. That's a bold claim.
It is. It cites examples of people going from, real hardship to becoming successful millionaires. The results were apparently incredible.
That kind of assurance suggests that if you follow the method exactly, it removes the element of chance.
It does, because it removes the variable of inconsistent thought. And that's why the text is so explicit. This is not a book to just be read. It requires you to do the exercises, to write things down, to revisit chapters over and over again until they are installed.
So we've covered a lot of ground. To just quickly recap for you, first, your mind is already rich. It has everything you need. Second, your thoughts are real energy that attract real outcomes, good and bad. And third,
Application. Installing these ideas through active use is the only way to make it real.
right. The book's ultimate promise is that if you understand this and you put it into action, you really can overcome anything. You get total control.
You become the one building the bridge, not waiting for one to appear.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought for you to take away from all this.
If you truly, deeply accept this core idea that every single unwanted outcome in your life was attracted by a thought you generated, conscious or not, then what is the single specific change you must make to your default thinking pattern, starting right now, to reroute your journey toward that land of prosperity?
Something to really think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.